Hi, and welcome back to the Rom-Com Love Podcast. I'm Kathryn.
I'm Brennan.
And we are so thrilled to have Kat Davis join us today to talk rom-coms and more. We'll see what happens.
Hello. Oh, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're so thrilled to talk with you, Kathryn. Thank you.
Yes. And like we said, we're happy to talk about it after the movie because we can ask more questions. But before we jump into the movies we want to talk about, can you give us a little background on how you got into acting?
Yes. So in case people don't quite pick up that I have a strange hybrid accent, I'm born in the UK. So I'm from a town in the southwest of England that was generally known as being kind of a launching point for shows that would go on to the West End of London, which is sort of the Broadway of the London sort of thing. So a lot of shows would come through. So my mum was always a big fan of ballet. She went to see like Rudolf Nureyev perform when she was a little girl. So I was always surrounded by the arts, and that way we would see musicals, pantomimes, ballet. So that kind of stoked definitely an interest for me there. And then I think almost every single primary school in the UK, when I was growing up at least, would do annual musicals, and you would do like Oliver. That was always the go-to, or there was a show called Bugsy Malone. And so that was sort of my first dip of my toes into the performing world. And from there, I just continued doing amateur theater growing up throughout high school. And then when I left high school, I was like, well, I want to pursue this, but in a professional capacity. So how do I do that? And I decided to start auditioning for theater programs throughout North America and the UK. And I ended up going to Toronto for university. I went to Toronto Metropolitan. They had a theater program there. So I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Performance Acting.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's kind of been my route through to acting. Is a lot of my parents definitely kept me immersed within the arts. We would see movies and listen to music and singing and so forth growing up, and then that interest continued to grow, and then I pursued it post-secondary and professionally. And then Bob's your uncle, there you are.
So when it first came to you that this is what you wanted to do, did you have the genre that you were looking at more towards, or were you kind of just open to what was, what might happen to even get your foot in the door of anything?
Yeah. So it was a particular film when I was 11, 10 years old when it came out. Okay. I'm a big fan of The Mummy. Loved The Mummy growing up with Brendan Fraser. Gorgeous man in that film, like Rachel Weisz. I idolized the character of Evie. My dog is named Evie. Bit of a fan. And the second film came out, and I saw it in cinemas. I was still living in England at the time, and I was just absolutely determined that I was like, nope, that should have been a daughter, and it should have been me. So that started an interest for myself and my brother, who's also in the arts. He's an actor, director, but far more in the theater world. He's in South Africa actually right now, working on an opera that he won what we call the Dora Maver Moore Awards. So they're kind of our Tony Awards for Canada. So he just won 2 awards for his opera. So he and we started to kind of act out our own films when we were little. So it'd be Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. I played Legolas. I make a great Orlando Bloom. Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, we would just act them out. We spent all of our summer holidays and Easter breaks and everything in the basement filming our own versions of movies. So that was kind of the spark, was that film. I started to kind of act it out alongside the movie, and then got a video camera, and we were like, yeah, let's film it. Let's make our own version of movies. And gosh, they're probably terrible now, but that was just always where my interest was. So yeah. From there. So I didn't have a genre. I would still love to do like an adventure romance like that film. It's still one of my favorite movies to this day. But yeah, then I kind of started to orbit this MOW world, we call it, like movie of the week world, sort of starting about 2018, 2020. And then from there, I love this genre, and you get to work with such incredible people, and it's a very, very fast process. So you can often be left like myself this week, finishing a movie on Monday. I'm kind of left like, a little bit startled because I'm like, where have all my people gone? Where's like the teams? Where's the person doing my hair, my makeup? Like, where's the director? Where's my co-star? You end up. It's very, very intensive for the 3 weeks that you're filming them, but I have so much fun, just such a good time filming them. So I'm very honored to have stumbled into this genre, which I love doing. I feel very, very blessed and very lucky to be able to work in this genre and share these stories and bring them to life for audiences to enjoy.
Oh, I love it.
That's so wonderful, Kathryn. I love that it was a childhood passion of yours growing up and kind of, playing, and now getting to do it for real. That's so amazing.
I have to pinch myself every so often. I'm still waiting for the opportunity to do a horse riding one because I was a horse rider for years. So I'm like, aha, that'll be the peak if I can like ride a horse in a movie. But yes, it's very surreal. At times when my parents come to visit, they'll come visit me on set sometimes, and seeing them work. And Mia's Prince aired a couple weeks ago, and I just got back from a week of filming, and I said to my mum, I was like, is it strange seeing me on TV? And my mom's like, no, I'm used to it now. So I'm like, okay. I feel that we've really fun. Yeah, I'm like, oh, because to me, like the first few times when I was watching stuff, I would run out of the room. If I knew like what the shot was. There was one show in particular called The Wedding Planners, and I just had a small role that recurred in a few episodes. And I remember how it was on a jib, the first shot that was like dropping into frame through like flowers. We're filming in this gorgeous sort of, nursery with all these beautiful plants. And I saw the jib action coming down and I was like, no. And I ran out of the room. So I'm like, I'm not prepared. I can't watch myself on camera. And it was during lockdown in 2020, and so I was kind of staring around the corner at my parents being like, is it good? Am I okay? Like, is it all right? Kind of thing. I got used to it now. I'm a little bit more used to watching myself, and I see it as an opportunity to learn all the time. And every co-star that you get to work with, every director, every company that you work with is I'd see it as a chance to pick things up, to improve on performance, and just bring the best work forward. So I'm always seeing a challenge within the work, but it's always for betterment and more enjoyment for audiences and for myself within the genre.
Oh, absolutely. That's neat that you seem to enjoy it as much as we do. And
I love them. So fun. They're so much fun.
Yes. And it shows, when we see movies, we can tell when the actors are having fun, and that just makes it so much more real and so much more authentic.
Yeah.
Well, Kathryn, so speaking of Mia's Prince, your Unwrapping Christmas movie, what was it about Mia's story that made you excited to jump into her shoes and jump into this role?
I think Mia is the character that I have identified as being closest to myself. I'm an avid reader. I have a bit of a compulsion, and I buy a lot of books, to which I have friends that tell me off. But one of my weird goals in life is to have a library one day. But I love books. I love learning. So I was very excited to see a character that was just so enthralled by this romantic genre. And then the romantic, this movie was very, very romantic, I thought, even from the opening sequence of like running through the wood. And I remember when it was described that it wasn't scripted, that it was myself. Of course, I knew that when I was filming, it was going to be me, but it was like young woman and young man, and we're supposed to be running. So I loved that classic romance that the script had. There were no ulterior motives for Mia otherwise to go about her day, and then handsome beau stumbles into her path. And I enjoyed watching the struggle with the two of them about conformity and what was correct in society. And she's trying to stand by her morals, but at the same time being very, very drawn towards someone. So I thought it was very old-fashioned, romantic, like a book of literature, very Jane Austen. And Jane Austen's one of my favorite authors. And that was one of the things I really, really loved about the script itself. And just excited to see it unfold. And the director I worked with, Amy Force, this was our 5th collaboration. And she was the perfect person because she's she's a creative director. She loves her, unique shots. I knew that having worked with her, this was my 4th lead role with her, that Amy knows exactly what she needs from me. She will guide me, I can have complete faith and just focus on the work itself and know that she is captaining the crew in the best way possible. And I think she really did. I watched Lily's Destiny last week again, and there were some really beautiful shots in that. Right towards the end, I was messaging Ashley Newber, and I was like, girl, right at the end, there's a chandelier shot that drops, and again, it's a jib, and it drops below, and it's her and Torrance, and they're dancing, and it's just beautiful, like aesthetic. And that's just what she brings to the world. And I think that just tied in so much to the romanticism of the script and then the cast. And then it's just magic. We're making movies about romance. And it was a great experience.
Oh, yes. And like you were just saying, that opening scene of Mia's prince, Kathryn and I were talking about it, and it's so beautiful and very, very unique for, you don't really see that in Hallmark TV movies. So we just love that opening. It was so romantic. And like you said, with the woods, and even, like you said, the way it was filmed, and when he kisses her wrist, oh my goodness.
That's all Amy. That's all Amy Force. Like of course, based on location, you film a few things during the day. So I remember we were filming the scene where we go out to take a photo later in the film when I'm having issues. I'm like, I need to get a photo for the backdrop of the gala. And we end up having this conversation in the woods, and he's, Beau is being, Nathan's being his gorgeous, self, dashing man. And how we approached the scene is I was a lot more heated of being like, I can't be with someone who's with someone, that was just my initial gut approach to the work. And then just Amy's direction in that, where she's like, you're saying things, but you're not actually believing it. When your mouth's talking, but your body is showing something different. And I can't remember exactly what she said to me, but it led to a completely different performance. And that's, of course, what made the film. And so having her as the insight to these movies is just, she's so great at what she does. I can't wait to reunite with her at some point. But yeah, that scene itself was so much fun. And because she's a very creative, aesthetic director, I could see that the director of photography, great guy, Michael Teen, I've worked with him 3 times. He was like, oh, like you could see the excitement in him when she was like, we're going to do some jib action. We're going to have, shot that kind of trucks across like this. And he's like, oh, and you can see he's like, because he gets to try out different equipment. And so when we arrived, they had set up in the trees, and I'd never worked with it before, but a camera that followed on a wire. So it was timed for us running across through. So that's one of the shots you see is like and it was sort of trucking across this wire. I was like, oh, this is so cool. It's like an action film. And then everything was filmed in slow motion. So we had to be very, very specific. It feels like I'm taking the romance out of it, but very specific about hitting certain points. Like I had to turn my head back at a certain point. So there are like red marks on the ground being like, turn back there, because to get the focus correct, they had to do it as such. And then, they're positioning the cape, and definitely with the wrist. It seemed really strange when we were filming it, and Amy's like, don't worry, it'll make sense. I'm like, okay, because the camera was literally here, like pressed against my cheek. So I'm like, guys, could you get any closer? It's like very invasive. I'm like, the camera's right there. Like,
you're like, not a romantic partner.
Okay, you want to kiss? Like, come on. So like, but it's all focused on Nathan's mouth. And because they had to be very careful to not show his face. So Amy was doing all these really cool shots of when he reaches out. It's, you probably see because I'm on camera right now, it's the arm closer to the camera, so it blocks his face from frame. So just these really, really cool ideas that Amy brought to this scene in particular. And I think it really, really showed in the work of like, I saw some playback of one of the slow motion parts, and I'm like, cool. Otherwise I'm not seeing anything until it's edited and it's airing on the TV. Right. So that was a really, really cool day. And it's very slippery because we're running on like soapy kind of, that's not real snow, it's soapy kind of, stuff. So like, oh, you got to be careful about where you're running too. But yeah, that was very fun.
Oh, it seems like it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So for a scene like that, how long do you remember that taking? Because that was, and was that a one night shoot? Because there was a lot of action. That was a lot longer of a scene than I was expecting, I would say too.
That was a few hours.
Okay.
Because we then had to go on to shoot. We had to be off the land, off the property by a certain point. So it's like either way, like we had to be wrapped out and off the property. And then we still had stuff to shoot that day. So one of the big things about these movies is they're generally filmed between 12 to 14 days. And that's a lot of stuff. Generally, some of the bigger scripts I've had have been 12 pages of script. And they usually say that, I think how it is one page is an hour of filming. So your day gets eaten up very, very quickly. That one, it must have been, my parents visited on set that day, actually. They were driving back to Toronto because I was filming this in Ottawa. That was a few hours, four hours at least for that. But a lot of it is the camera setup. You know, they had to get the camera off the wire and then spray foaming the area itself because the bubbles dissipate after a while, and blocking things. But then we also had to shoot the other scene that I mentioned of when we're out taking the photo. So that was, as soon as you think you're out of something, you're like, okay, you're like, no, wardrobe change. You're straight back into something else. So they're intensive. The filming days are 12 to 14 if you're lucky. The one I just did was 12.
Okay.
And I've shot in 11 days too. So they're it's a lot. You're from start to finish of the day, and of course the women generally are sort of like the number one on the call sheet. So you don't have time off really. Pretty much as soon as you're out one scene, they're like, okay, we're out of scene 63, we're moving on. And then it's like, okay, are we blocking first? Am I going to get like wardrobe, hair, and makeup kind of thing? And then it's wardrobe, hair, makeup, blocking, shoot, and then same thing over and over.
And like you said, with the time frame too, you guys, there is not that opportunity for a lot of multiple takes because you're like, okay, 1, 2, okay, moving on. And so that's definitely
it's when you have to have faith in the director, and that's what I thoroughly trust Amy in that way. And it's just really about knuckling down and focusing and working with the actor, but also giving yourself the grace that you, as you said, you don't have the opportunity for takes. So trying things out, seeing if they work there, and resetting if you have to during a scene. When I was first doing, making mistakes, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So the first few times I was like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. Apologizing. They're like, no, it's part of the work. It's fine. You need to reset. That wasn't the right read. They don't want you regressing it after when you've had to move on and not get the read. But also Amy's amazing for that, because I can go up to her and I was like, I didn't quite get it right at this part. She's like, don't worry, because she's editing in her head straight away. So she's like, no, I'm taking this take from 3 earlier when you were on this camera. So I'm like, okay, cool.
I trust you.
Amy, that's girl kind of thing.
Well, the other thing that, sorry to hog, Brennan. I was going to say the other thing that really has always just been so interesting to me by talking to, I've met a few directors at fan events. So you sit there and you ask them as many questions as you can, but the amount of time that they don't know who their cast is when they're sometimes hopping onto set, you guys don't know who your co-star is, and you are making that magic in 15 days. That's not summer camp. I mean, it is summer camp, but it is like on steroids.
It's fast friends.
Yes.
I have very few times have I found out before. Like I knew with the Unwrapping Christmas, my agent phoned me. She said, I have an offer. It's a 4-parter, and I've heard of them. They've done the Love Club, so I knew that these were a thing. And she's like, you're 4 leads, so you're 1, Cindy Busby, Natalie Hall, Ashley Newber. I knew all of the ladies, so I was like, oh, cool.
Okay.
So they were the co-stars I knew about leading in. But I showed up for my wardrobe fitting, and I had a vision of Beau. I didn't get much time to reach out beforehand because Amy touched base with me, and I was like, yay, I'm so glad with Amy. I was in the UK filming, so I got back to Toronto. I was at 4 days in Toronto. like what they say, when it rains, it pours. I was like 4 days here. I had a rehearsal for something, a voiceover session, and then I was flying to Ottawa for 6 weeks to film this. So when I showed up for my wardrobe fitting, I was like, okay, guys, who's playing Beau? Because nobody's told me.
Right.
Like, I don't know who I'm supposed to ask.
Who is my man?
Who's my boy? Who's my Beau boy?
Yeah.
And they told me his name, and I Googled him, and I was like, oh. And he was my vision. Exactly what I had envisioned for this character. I was like, oh, whoa, this is crazy. Like how my brain aligned. I just had it with the project I just finished was this character, this very eccentric character. And I had a vision in my head. And then when I saw who was cast and I looked her up, I was like, of course. So yes, I didn't know. I found out Nathan was cast in my wardrobe fitting. He'd just flown in from Vancouver. And then all they had to say was Lynette Ware, who's playing Claire Kavanagh, so Beau's mother. And I've worked with her twice. So I was like, oh, goddess. Okay, perfect. But then, yeah, I'm not knowing who is cast in other roles until you get the call sheet the night before. Unless you can catch a snip. Sometimes they have the cast lineup in the production offices. So you can go over and kind of have a peek. So that's how I found out Torrance Coombs was in it. I found out in the makeup trailer, they had our pictures. And I saw all of the ladies, and then I was like, Torrance Coombs? Oh my God, because I grew up watching the Tudors. And so I was like, oh my God, Thomas Culpepper, I'm working with him. And then I had slightly fangirling when I met him in the trailer, and he's so suave. You would know, like, he's very, he's not what you think, because when, it's trying to say this in the right way, when you see him on screen, he's very put together, but he's very mellow, very calm, very sweet, kind, very generous person. And so when I met him, you know, there's me going like, oh, and he's just this very mellow energy. And I was like, oh, hi. I used to watch you on the Tudors. And then, of course, I got cast with him again later on that year. So the weird kind of fangirl moment, we put, you know, I got it done straight away. So then I was cool. Cool as a cucumber. From November.
That actually answers our question, because we asked him this and he said, oh, you'll have to ask the girls. But I go, okay, so this one filmed before Hearts Around the Table then.
Yes.
Because we said to him, we were like, okay, so you had Cindy, Kat, and Ashley all as your leading ladies in movies. And I go, so wink, wink, how much was discussed about you as a leading man? And he goes, oh, you'll have to ask the ladies. And now because you had never met him, you wouldn't have had that discussion, or who knows what would have been filmed first or foremost.
Yeah, no, there isn't much. The funny thing is that when I was with the girls on set, we never get to meet each other. So we know of each other within the industry. So that's what was so nice about this. So I was like, wow, I'm seeing my contemporaries. I'm working with the ladies that we say we recycle the men, because it's really mean to say, but kind of true. I mean,
it's not wrong.
No. And so with Natalie Hall, she'd worked with a co-star of mine, Olivier Renault. She'd worked with him even before I did, but he was not her number two. He was playing like another male character within the world. And then it was the same with Hearts Around the Table. Ashley was partnered with Steve Lund, and I worked with Steve Lund in 2022. So she was like, give me the dirt, girl. What's the dirt on Steve Lund? I was like, nothing. Like, he's very East Coast. He's very, you know, sweet. Like, East Coast people in Canada are just the kindest, warmest people that you will meet. And I was like, he's very East Coast. That's all I can describe. He's a little bit like along the lines of like Torrance, who's West Coast, you know, very, very calming energy to them. Compared to me, that I'm coming like kind of thing. Like, yeah, they're very, very mellow. And so
I love it. You're rolling in like we would. You're fangirling along with it. You're just like, I'm working with you, but I am first and foremost a fangirl.
Yes.
Okay, let's just get this out of the way. Yes. Oh my God, I've watched you growing up. And of course, like, the show Rain was filmed in Toronto, and I eventually got cast on it. I did a few auditions for it over the years, and eventually I got cast in just a small role I was just working with a little boy. Like I never met Adelaide Kane. I never met anyone of the main cast. But I was like, yes, I made it on the show, because it was just, I was determined to get on it. I was like, come on, it's set in the UK. I can, I have my weird English accent sort of thing. But yeah, that one was a really, really fun experience. Very hot. I think it was July as well. I was filming that, running through a field wearing a corset, screaming kind of thing. But I never met Florence on that one.
You're like, I made it.
We both have to admit we didn't see that one, and
that's okay.
No, it's on our list because I've heard wonderful things about it. But I was actually supposed to go to a fan event last year that was a collaboration of a lot of the Supernatural and CW shows. And so the originals, Rain, like Torrance was one of the ones who was there, Taylor Cole, Benjamin Ayres, and how they were doing it was they were matching, and Cindy was supposed to be there too. They were matching, they're like, this genre, when you think about it, the crossover you have between the rom-com stars that you know on these Hallmark and Lifetime movies and stuff have done all of these series. And so it was a perfect matchup, but unfortunately it happened to be in Atlanta, and it was right after the flooding that had happened all out there. And so it just, unfortunately, they had to cancel it. So I hope it's something they do again, because I was really I hadn't really thought about it, but part of our rom-com love vibe is we do trivia. And so I started to really dive in to see what that crossover was. And I was like, oh, I know so-and-so from this. And so it's just really cool. It's fun to see it. So I can't wait to actually, we'll do a whole binge about it. And we know that we're going to see so many people we recognize from this world.
Probably. Yeah, I would think so. Definitely faces within the Hallmark world, except Jake Epstein. I think we spoke about it during Hearts around the table, and he was like, I couldn't get cast on that show. The number of times that he went up for auditions and he's like, yeah, I couldn't get cast on it. And I was like, oh, I did. But I had the strangest audition where I was supposed to, it was just a few lines, and I'm supposed to, I was reading the script, and I was supposed to be sort of setting up a picnic for my son and myself. And then he wanders off into the bushes, and then it says, she screams. And by this point, I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last season of Reign. I've auditioned for numerous roles. Nothing sticks. I'm just going to go in. So I go in front of this casting director, John Comerford, who's a lovely man. And he's always very encouraging. He's like, do it in your English accent. So I'm like, okay. So I go in, and I think I must have been the first girl to read for this role, because I do the scene and then I scream, and I'm like, okay, done the take. And I look back to him, and he's sitting in the chair like, and for podcasters not listening, just this absolute confusion on his face. And he puts his finger up and he goes like, one sec, picks up the script and then starts reading through, and then goes, oh, yeah, you did it. Get out of here, kind of thing. I'm like, thanks, John. I'll see you soon. Bye. And I walk out, and any actor that is from Toronto would know what this said waiting room was like, where you walk through and it's like this scene from La La Land, where Emma Stone shows up for the audition, and you're seeing all of your competition there. And so you walk down this line of 6 chairs one side, 6 chairs of the other. And I didn't know. I was like, I did what was scripted. We'll see, kind of thing. But there were a lot of looks of confusion because the sound room is not soundproofed. So there were a lot of kind of, I got some side eye from a lot of people being like, blew it. And then 2 days later, they were like, oh yeah, you've got the offer. So I was like, okay, I must have done something right. And so I did make it on the final season of Reign, but poor Jake Epstein did not. Quite a sore point, I think, for him even now. But I'm just saying, like,
bring it up.
Yeah, certain projects, like he got on Suits. He was on Suits. Like he's good. Yeah. But there's another show that's gone season after season, and I've had a few auditions, but I cannot get on the show. And I was like, well, we've all got one that just sticks or doesn't stick, I should say.
Mhm.
Well, since you weren't in so you were on the East Coast then. So did you were you ever in Once Upon a Time? Because that's the other one that it seems like there's everybody and their brother was in that in some guest role.
No, my professional, I always say my professional career since I left theatre school has always been Toronto based, and then the UK. I've gone to the UK for work. But no, it's been it's weird saying East Coast because yes, Toronto's in the east side of Canada, but we've still got another East Coast to go. We still have like 2 more time zones after us. So no, I was not on Once Upon a Time. I think I was probably still in theatre school when that one was going on, when they were auditioning for that. But there was a lot of stuff. I grew up in Kelowna, BC. So I've been across, England, Kelowna, BC. So I did know about the Vancouver scene, and I had an agent for a while in Vancouver when I was a teenager. But yeah, no, and I haven't worked out. I'd love to. If anyone out of producers in BC are listening, I'd love to work out there. But haven't had the opportunity as of yet.
Aww. Well, it's so neat that you still got to live out the fairy tale story in Mia's Prince. So maybe that kind of makes up for it.
Yes. Yeah, no one else got to run around in a forest with Nathan Vitteth chasing you and then a camera wedged up against your face being like, so romantic. She's like, don't worry, Kat. It'll all make sense. I'm like, okay. I don't have a choice. The camera's like right there. I'm like,
You're like, I'm trusting you. And
I hope I wax. Like, how accurate is this camera? Are you catching my facial hair? Like,
it
that
was
intimate.
Absolutely beautiful. They did it well. Yes.
He didn't disappoint you at all.
No, I think that the costumes and he just got so dashing in his frilly shirt and everything. And I think it ended up being very, very, it's just a special film. It's one of my favorites.
Yes. So good.
You can ask the next one, Brendan, because I kind of stepped in there with some extra ones.
Oh, no problem. Oh, let's see here. I love that we are talking so much about fairy tales and Prince. And well, speaking back to your co-star Nathan, who played Beau, do you have a favorite moment with him from set, either off screen or on screen?
Besides the camera.
Right.
Besides saying, yes, my very intimate moment for the camera. I did. You don't have much time in between takes or camera setups, really. So there was one afternoon where they were filming some of the front of the store, and so it was mostly the background performers working in that moment. So I remember being able to chat to him and have a heart-to-heart. Our first scene together was our baking scene. So that was day 3 for me. Okay. He wasn't on the first couple of days of shooting. It was primarily myself and Tara that was playing my sister. So that was fun. We were going much to my hair team's delight. We were going full hog with the throwing the flour on each other. So, because I don't know, instinctually, every time you would throw it, I would do this, I would curl my head down. And so I had like a white streak up there. So I would, they'd be like, and cut. And I'd look over to Darcy, who was doing my hair for the film. And he'd sort of have this very distraught, like, big time. Like, I'm sorry, Darcy, I'm sorry. Because he'd have to
get a new one?
And, like, dust my hair off and stuff. Yeah, like, sorry.
Like, it's just instinct. I can't help it.
Amy a couple times would have to say, and cut before we were starting to throw, and we're like, okay. Like, Amy, tell us when we need to do it or not, because it was a lot of resets otherwise. One of the classic moments of when something decides to not work for you at the last minute was the scene when Nathan Beau shows up at the store, and it's the night after I've met him and wrapped the gift, and he shows up with all the boxes of everything, and he's inviting me to go and do the gift wrapping sort of show for his mum. And we decided that Amy was like, let's incorporate a stumble, like you kind of drop the boxes. And there was a teddy that just fell out during one of the rehearsals for it. So we're like, oh, okay, well, we'll replicate that, and then you can hold the teddy and then, put it back in the basket. So kind of very organic, I guess, blocking while we were doing this scene. And so all of the coverage, like the wide, the 2-shot, my coverage, Teddy was working great. But when it got to Nathan, Teddy went on strike. And so it just did not want to fall out of this box. And there was this one take where Nathan would do the fumble. And this Teddy, I swear, was auditioning for Sylvester Stallone in Cliffhanger. He had one paw and he was hanging from the box like this. And Nathan was like, thought it had toppled out of the box. And we all got the giggles because I was like, it's hanging on for dear life. It's literally like that. Do you remember seeing the DVD or VHS poster for Sylvester Stallone in Cliffhanger?
Yes.
It was just, his paw was just hanging there. Mm-hmm. As soon as it got to Nathan's coverage, that we could not get the Teddy to cooperate. We got there in the end. But that would be one fun moment where it was just nothing was going to happen on his coverage. It's like Teddy did not want to do what he was supposed to do.
You would think you were working with an actual dog or something like that.
We say don't work with
the
kids or animals or teddy bears because Teddy just did not want to cooperate.
So Teddy was diva on set.
Absolutely. Right? So I'm ready for my close up. Didn't want to give up his screen time for the floor.
Watch how well I can hang.
Watch this, Nathan. I'll show you how it's done. Yeah, Teddy was not cooperating. So that was definitely a fun memory of a moment where we're just like, you get to a certain point, you're just like, I don't know what to do anymore. This Teddy's not working.
And then to get yourself out of the giggles. So in the aspect that you guys had multiple directors, was there 2 directors for the series of 4 movies, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, Maxwell McGuire.
How did you guys do? Okay, so did the directors come in and do all of your ladies' stuff together in the store and collaborate that way? Or how did you guys end up working that?
Yeah, so the shoot schedule itself was that Cindy and Jake did their film first. I was the second shoot to come in. And then they had everybody in for what we called the crossover. So it was about 6-7 days of filming where we were integrating to each other's films. And then Cindy and I were done. We were sort of back home. And then they went into Natalie's film. And then Ashley's film was the last one. So the crossover week, yes, it was Maxwell McGuire, who was the director of Cindy and Natalie's films. So Olivia and Tina's. And then Amy, who was Mia and Lily. So myself and Ashley. Lots of names. So yes, they would take it in turns. The gala stuff, whenever it's anything that's to do with all of us being seen, that was Amy. And that was 2 days of filming. And that was tough on the crew those days. We were, most of the actors, we were kind of hanging out and getting to know each other. It was a lot on the crew that day. We had 3 cameras in to capture everything. It ended up looking really, really beautiful, but they worked their socks off, the crew, for those days. So there was actually only one scene that I worked with Maxwell McGuire, and it was for Natalie's film. And it was her establisher within the world, and all 4 of us being there. So aside from that, I was mostly with Amy. And I feel that Amy directed at least 2/3 of that crossover, and then Max was coming in and doing things where he had to.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, and it's interesting to see too, like, and obviously the directors are talking to each other, like, what's your vision on this? But if there was, and I'm not saying this would ever be the case, but if you had some good competing visions of what they're looking for specifically in those group shots, it would be a very interesting conversation and so that's what I find. So I absolutely love, as many people as they get involved. It's just lots of cooks in the kitchen. You always wonder how it's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, they do have different styles. Definitely, my exposure was with Amy. I've worked with her 5 times, so I know that she likes to go for very intricate camera shots. And Max is he's got a producer brain, so he's very much about efficiency, and he'll be like, okay, we'll do, take over here, wide, close up to, so he's methodical, whereas Amy she has the vision, so you just trust with her that she's doing it right. So it was because especially Natalie has a lot of experience with Max. I kind of would saying, I'm like, don't worry, like, you know, I've got a lot of experience with Amy. She knows, you know, exactly what she's doing. You know, don't even worry. Don't you know? Don't worry at all. And I think it really paid off because I swear there were camera shots within the gala sequence, and I was like, I don't even remember doing that. Like, I don't even remember
was I there
filming that. Like, you know, or you think that the camera's going one direction, but they're actually capturing stuff. So good thing I was sort of in character, we can say. Because I was like, oh, wow. Because, yeah, we had the 3 cameras in just to be able to capture everything. But the first day, I think we realized how much of a beast this gala was to capture. So they brought in a 3rd camera. And that just helped speed things up. But, yeah, the crew were incredible on that. The camera crew, the production design, the props crew, you know, they were, you know, as we're doing the wrapping stuff, they're bringing us in different stages of the wrapping. And I really loved Ashley's film and her wrapping sequence and how it was shot. And then they had the Nutcracker music to it as well. It's just, yeah, so clever. And that's all Amy's imagination and her seeing her vision play out in real time. You're kind of watching, you're like, oh, okay. But then when you actually see it on the screen, you're like, oh, wow. Okay. So smart. She's incredible. I love Amy. She's my girl.
Oh, well, and that the gala scenes in the movies, it's stunning, absolutely beautiful. When you were talking about just the lighting and, you know, the chandeliers and the costume as well, the dresses that you all wore just were gorgeous and decorating so beautiful.
Yeah.
And speaking of the gala in these movies, the girls are in a rapping contest and Mia's claim to fame was best rap. So did you bring any of your own personal rapping skills to that, or was that something that you had to learn?
I had to learn. So I was she's supposed to be the expert in fudoshiki, which is a Japanese style of rapping. Oh my god, I almost went into my script then. Japanese style of rapping where you don't use paper glue. Wow, imprinted or what? I spent far too many nights learning that script. So yes, I did, and the production designer Greg was great. His second Tom, they were giving me videos, so I would go home with boxes and different types of fabric, and I would literally practice, you know, while I was preparing for the next day's shoot. So what you see are my hands actually working. So yeah, I did learn that style. I loved the wine bottle in particular, and they would give me videos and props to try to practice with, and so I did have to learn that. Otherwise, my rapping skills, I'm good by the end. But the first few, I might forgive that. Didn't think that was going to look like that kind of thing, and thankfully, my hands on the inserts and so forth were for the most part with the fudoshiki when I was doing that one. So
it was very impressive.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful job.
Greg and Tom.
You seen? Oh, sorry. Did you see Hall at the Hollies at all? I think it was Hall at the Holly 2. They had a rapping competition in it.
No,
and
I didn't.
And it was gift wrapping. But of course, it was not Ellen DeGeneres, that's not her name. Ellen Travolta, who her character was. So she starts rapping, like speaking in rap. And then so you could have been like, I don't have that talent, but I'll come in with this one.
I'll try it. I tried one. I studied clown at theater school, and I did try a clown routine where I was going to do like spoken word rap kind of thing. It didn't work out, so I would already question my capabilities at that, but.
I'll have to send you a clip. It was a pretty cute little scene with her.
Yeah.
And she went to town with it. Kudos to her. So as somebody who loves books, and you were saying that you love Jane Austen, have you what would your dream role in one of her books be?
I can't help but think that Elizabeth Bennet, because I love how strong-headed she is, and defiant. I think she's one of the strongest female characters within that genre. The only other would be Persuasion, the character Anne Elliot, I want to say her last name is. But even Anne is, I connect with her in ways, but that she gave up on what she wanted. And I think that one of the things I love about Elizabeth Bennet is that she won't conform, but Anne Elliot does. She is persuaded away from whom she loves by her father and his opinion and on society and everything. I think I admire Elizabeth Bennet that out of all of the Bennet sisters, I think it would be either her or Mary, and I would be like playing the piano and disinterested in men in general. But I love that Elizabeth is free spirit and, love kind of stumbles in her direction. I think that's how I kind of approach life, is that I know what I want, and I try not to allow society to, I always say should on you. People like to do a lot of shoulding. Oh, you should be doing that. You should be doing that. And I think I try to stand by my principles and what makes me happy in life. So I think that's where I would align most with Elizabeth Bennet out of the Jane Austen characters.
Yes.
Well, you should talk with Alec, because his job, or Alex, his is it? I'm sorry, Alec. Totally just spaced it.
Santos?
Yeah. He wants to. He wants to do Jane Austen movie.
Oh.
Yes.
Alex,
we'll that right now.
Yeah.
Well, they did a Sense and
guys. There you
Sensibility. Oh, I completely forgot about Sense and Sensibility. But I think even then, I'm a bit of a split between the two Dashwood girls. That I like to think that I'm as fiery and like, love as Marianne, but there is a sensibility that I have to things, that I'm practical, and maybe sometimes I don't voice how I truly feel about things, because you have to conform. So maybe there's a little bit of conformity in me there. I'm a bit of a chicken when it comes to sharing feelings and so forth. So that would be Dashwood. But I knew that Hallmark did Sense Sensibility a few years ago, and I was slightly jealous. I would love to have done that one. And I had a feeling that it was filmed in my hometown in England, because there's actually a Hallmark house that is, you literally see it on one of the roads that's leading out of my town. It's on this beautiful, it's this valley, and then it's right up on top of a hill. And it was owned by a gentleman, I think his name was George Brownsword. I could be very, very wrong there. And he owned a card company, which he actually sold to Hallmark.
Oh.
So that was his estate. And now Hallmark, I believe, still own it. So I had a feeling when I was watching that film, I was like, is that the old Brownsword estate outside of Bath? Like, so, and Jane Austen lived in my hometown for periods of time. And some of her books are based here, Northanger Abbey. Some of it's in Bath, Persuasion. She herself was not a fan of Bath herself, because it was society at the time. They weren't so open to her. She wasn't amongst the echelon of society. So she wrote about that world and really, I think, craved being part of it, but it just wasn't for society to allow her in at the time. Just, being the daughter of a reverend, it didn't allow her the kind of the monetary status. So she actually doesn't talk about Bath with the kindest, I guess, reflection, because of her own experience living there. But there's a Jane Austen museum. Bath is like where Mr. Wickham, I think, goes and takes Georgiana. So it's always sort of like, the bad stuff, the the naughty boys and so forth. Like Willoughby, I think he is in Bath. So yeah, so it always has a little bit more of an infamous side to it, Bath itself. But that's my hometown, and I love it.
Of course, yes.
Well, my aunt, she was a member of the Jane Austen Society of North America, and so I heard all about them growing up. But she was, and I can't prove that. I said she just sadly passed, and so in my eulogy to her, I said I gave in, because one of the things that we kind of argued about was, I was talking about when Hallmark did these movies.
Yes.
And one of her things is, she's like, oh, Jane Austen would not be happy with all these adaptations that have happened. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And she goes, well, a lot of things are kind of being, necessarily taken out of context for probably what she would have written it as. And I said, I understand that. I go, but at the same time, the way that they're doing and modernizing some of it is it like becoming Jane, was it an American in Austin, I think, is one of them that they did. Yes. And that was the one that was filmed at that one, wasn't it? Oh, no, you're saying Pride and Prejudice was.
It was Sense Sensibility. It was an all black cast.
Okay.
Yeah. For the family, the Dashwoods were all women of color. So,
but there was just something about that, because I think I was talking with her and I said, but because it's modern and it's, going back, I said, I am watching it and I'm curious to learn more about it than I ever have been, because it appealed to me in a different way. And so then during her eulogy, I said, I go, all right, I'll say that you were probably right about Jane Austen. You were part of the society. You probably knew her better than me. But I always now have such a place in my heart to learn so much more about her story based on my aunt's love of it. So,
I mean, I think it wrote the original romantic comedy. So despite perhaps that she might have, maybe would smack herself on the side of the head to be like, oh my God, look what I've inspired. That was not my intention. She is the script of Pride and Prejudice is most of these films. It's, the male and female meet, there's a misunderstanding. And then they sort of start to understand each other. And then there's another misunderstanding. Like they're all, what she created was the formula that there's an entire genre of TV films that have come out of that. So I hope to think that she would like to see where her work has gone from there.
Oh yes,
I am with you on that one. But
the only thing would be about maybe if she understood that what modern life is like now, perhaps not have so much husband hunting as seen as sort of the only way to go forward. But I'm sure in real life that there's still that kind of thing that goes on. And, marriage was just it was so different. I think it was the merging of assets. It wasn't so romantic. It was about taking names, titles and combining fortunes and dowries. And I think it was, very political. Marriage,
which the tutors taught me. That's how I learned my history.
And that's how the whole Church of England was changed, because Henry VIII wanted a divorce and couldn't get it annulled. And so he's like, that's it. I'm splitting from the church and I'm going to be the head of it, since like Anglicanism still to this day, like King Charles is the head of the Church of England. So
it's
completely changed the fabric.
It's amazing history to learn about, definitely. And how it's still, and what they actually, because it was interesting with Queen Elizabeth, what they were trying, maybe a little bit more now that sadly she'd passed, like what can we change with King Charles? And so it's just,
it's modernizing, Princess Margaret wasn't allowed to marry the man she loved because he was a divorcee, and you couldn't marry a divorced person unless the other spouse had passed. So, that led to, probably a sad existence perhaps for Princess Margaret. I mean, she had a colorful life, vibrant life, and one of a lot of privilege. But would that have saved her a lot of heartache? Perhaps, if she'd been allowed to marry the person she wanted. And so the rule was changed, so that Charles could marry Camilla, or that I'm sure that there's been another one. It was Princess Anne. She divorced, but I don't know if she remarried. I think she did. Yeah, I think she remarried Princess Anne.
Yeah. No.
Brush up on my royal history.
You know what? Let's go watch The Crown next.
Yes.
Also on the list. Yes.
Yes. So the Crown is a good way of seeing it. I mean, I love history myself. Like I studied history at school. I have a minor in it, so that's, if I'm not reading classic literature, it's history books and so forth. So I'm always fascinated by it. And the Tudors, I did know a lot of the history. So then when, of course, the Tudors came out, I was like, Anne Boleyn, Catherine of Aragon, kind of thing. I knew most of it. So I knew who Thomas Culpepper was. Naughty boy.
And that's actually what we asked Torrance. We're like, did you know who you were playing when you played them?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, not until I started playing them.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of scapegoating, I'm pretty sure, though, with, that king himself. He just wanted things his way. And so, I don't know, manufactured stories, perhaps a little bit. I think it is confirmed that Kathryn Howard was having an affair, but definitely inflated certain things about other wives in order to get what he wanted. Historically.
Well, anytime I have history questions, I'm now going to just reach out to you and be like, okay, let's talk about Jane Austen.
Oh yes.
And
yeah,
there is another. Is there not another Sense and Sensibility coming out, or Pride and Prejudice? There's a second one with Keira Knightley coming out.
Oh, that's right.
A remake?
Yeah. I will go and research that. But we were just talking about it again yesterday because my mom saw a little preview. So unless it was clickbait, who knows? But I thought I heard it was real.
I know she just did an interview with Rosamund Pike, I want to say her last name is. The lady that played Jane. Okay. And they just did an interview 20 years on from filming that. I have not heard, but there was no sequel, I guess, to the book. There's a show called Death at Pemberley. I've seen that. That was quite interesting. And that had Matthew Good in it. He was playing Wickham. And then some of the adaptations, I haven't seen all of the adaptations because sometimes something's so perfect. Like I love Ang Lee's Sensibility with Kate Winslet and Emma Thompson. So I'm like, don't touch it.
Right. Yeah.
There's a part of me that's like, no, you don't touch perfection. Right. I was a little bit like that when the one with Keira Knightley was made, but that one is very aesthetically beautiful. And then I haven't seen the newer Persuasion because I saw a TV version. BBC version with Sally Hawkins, and she was lovely as Anne Elliot, and it was, of course, filmed in Bath. So they had one a few years ago out with Dakota Johnson, and her approach to the character was not what Anne Elliot is. They made her very kind of opinionated and strong, and I'm like, no, that's not what Anne Elliot is. Like, she's literally persuaded away from marrying or being with the man she wants because he's not of the right status. So that was her living in regrets after.
Yeah, that was definitely one of them. I asked my aunt because I was like, oh, it's either Hallmark or, I was like, you want to have a movie day? And she's like, I'm not watching that one. And I'm like, okay.
No, because she would, understand. Yep. I did quite enjoy the remake of Emma with Anya Taylor, but it was mostly for, was it Bill Nighy that played her husband, or is it Richard E. Grant? No, Richard E. Grant, I think, played the father in Persuasion. And I was like, he is quite on. Oh, my goodness, am I confusing the two of them? I think it was Bill Nighy did Emma. And the character, when I read Emma, the character of Mr. Woodhouse, he actually makes me laugh because he's just so sort of like, talks about drafts in the house, and he's sort of a little bit eccentric. And so when Bill Nighy was kind of like, doing this character, I was like, oh, he's perfect for it. Him and Richard
Bill Nighy, the science guy?
Bill Nighy, the English, is it Bill Nighy?
I was thinking Bill Nighy, the science guy. I'm like,
oh no, I have to research this. Bill Nighy, no, I'm sure
oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Bill Nighy, I'm going to show you on my phone. This guy. Where's my camera?
Oh,
yeah,
I think recognize him.
Yes, he looked like Drew Carey to me.
He kind of does. Yeah.
He was in. Now, was it him that was in it, or?
You know what? Let's just Google a whole bunch of Jane Austen.
It was Emma. 2020. He played Mr. Woodhouse, so he was well cast, I think, for that. And I enjoyed watching his performance, and then, seeing. But I always love Clueless. I wonder what Jane Austen would think of Clueless, because that is based off of Emma.
Oh, I love Clueless. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't either.
Okay, you need to rewatch Emma. Rewatch Clueless. Okay. It's based off of Emma because Ty is supposed to be. I can't remember the name of the character right now, but Ty is supposed to be the girl that she's trying to set up with Mr. Elliot, So even Elliot in the film is supposed to be Mr. Elliot, and then she gets it wrong, and he's after her, and she's like, no, kind of. So it's a very loose. The storyline is very loosely based around Emma.
And then, I really wish you would have met my aunt, because it would have been fun to hear you talk about it.
I wonder what your aunt's perspective would have been on that one, though.
I'm going to go with she never watched it, most likely, so she didn't know.
Fair. But I mean, it's a great film just for Alicia Silverstone being 16, 17, and she's genius in that film. And then you have the other characters that, yes, I think in the book, Mr. Elliot has feelings for her, but she's like, oh no, you're beneath me, because I think he's a vicar. And then she has feelings for another guy who's supposed to be, Christian in the movie that isn't going to work out. And then she ends up with Mr. Knightley in the book, who was always sort of the friend of the father that was hanging around the household and so forth. And it's Josh. So
Yes.
I was just a little bit weirded out by that as a kid, though. The fact that they're step siblings. I know they're not related, but I just was always.
You're not the only one.
You're not the only one.
It's still a sticking point to me. I'm like, I love Paul Rudd. Like,
I do
Hollywood
too.
Sweetheart, but I'm just, I still to this day, I'm like,
did we have to do the step sibling thing? Yes.
Yeah. I'm like, couldn't you just? No, I don't know. It's just still too close to home. Even as a kid, I was like, ew.
Is this weird? Is this allowed? Right.
Yeah.
Oh, Kathryn, that is really, really cool history about that. I did not know that about Clueless, and I love that movie. And I've always said if I could go back to school with a new major, I probably would have majored in history. So that's neat that you minored in it. And I think that's really neat. We're seeing that more with rom-coms and Hallmark movies now. Like you were talking about this shooting. We see these men and women really making the choice to follow love and do it for love rather than what they should have done. So it all started from somewhere, from all of this history. I love it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we just have a few more questions for you if you got a little time left.
Yes, of course.
So speaking of rom-coms then and Christmas movies, which is one that you could watch over and over again?
Okay. One of my favorites.
I'll give you. You can name as many as you want.
Of course.
There's a list coming.
You
can't deny me. I can't single it out to one. I love Only You, which not everyone knows about, which is Marissa Tomei and Robert Downey Jr.
Yes.
It came out in 1994. And I mean, it's a very young Robert Downey Jr. who's just adorable in that. Yes. And it's all set in Italy. So that is one that I will watch again and again and again because it's set in Rome. It's set in, we should go Positano, Tuscany. I'm like, Venice. And I love Italy. So that would be one. I do enjoy You've Got Mail. I think Meg Ryan, I admire her and Sandra Bullock really within the romance and the comedy and the physical comedy that those two women brought to roles. So I enjoy watching those. I guess I consider Miss Congeniality as a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
They kind of only really end up together at the end. And then based on the sequel, it doesn't last. So those are like, there's actresses that I really admire for, the work that they do and the charisma that they bring. And especially Sandra Bullock is so brilliant at physical comedy. And I was watching something from The Proposal just a few weeks ago, and she's going like, oh yes, we're going to, she's like, oh honey, like don't leave me doing all the talking, like go ahead. And it's when they're talking about going to Skagway, and she goes, Skagway, and he goes, Alaska. And it's sheer brilliance. So I'm like, does that actually just crop out of her head, or is it scripted, or is it director like she's just brilliant? I think it all comes from her. I think she's just very, very gifted and genius at physical comedy.
Yeah.
So
and I will say
movies.
that was one of my favorite of Ryan. For all that Ryan Reynolds has done across, genres, that's actually one of my favorite ones. And I think they just played off each other so well that she brought so much extra comedy off of him too.
Yeah.
So. And then Betty White. I mean, you can't go wrong with Betty White.
So good.
I love the dynamic as well of a man and woman that will give it to each other. And so at one point he goes like, hurry up. my grandma's moving faster than you are. I'm like, so mean. Yeah. Or I don't know if you've seen City of D or Lost City of D. It was her, Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum. And I mean, Channing Tatum's incredibly great great dancer. He can play, and there's only one other actor that really comes to mind, and it's Will Ferrell. They can play such sweet naivety on camera, and you believe it, but it's got a comedy value to it. And so I watched that having zero expectations of the film, and spent most of my time laughing because he has this kind of just a sweetness to him, and I think they were teamed up really well together. And yes, I do like it when Sandra Bullock continues to venture into the comedy side. So.
Oh, she's so great.
You know who really surprised me as a comedic actress? I don't know why I really wasn't expecting it, but Jennifer Lopez. Like, I really feel like with the Wedding Planner and like I don't know why it just never would have been a first thought to me. And then I was like, oh, she's doing the looks, and she
has the timing right. Her and Jennifer Aniston, I think. I mean, we all know her from Friends, and but I think she's great at that comedy as well, that physical comedy too. So absolutely, it's a skill to have that, because otherwise it can become heavy and forced. And those women are all ones that have they just have it naturally occurring within the work. Hopefully the camera's rolling to capture the magic, really, for them.
Yeah. And Kathryn Jensen, as you were just saying, The Wedding Planner that's probably my top rom-com. J-Lo and Matthew McConaughey. And I love Monster-in-Law too. Oh my goodness. She's hilarious in that.
Yeah. And she had a competition with Jane Fonda's in that.
Yeah.
She's great. And Wanda Sykes is in it as well. When I was watching that film, I saw that when I was a teenager, and I was just sort of like, why is her fiance so spineless? Like, does he not see that there's a clear gang up happening? I'm like, why would she want to get married to this guy? He has no spine to stand up to his mom. That was just my opinion, but I think it was pretty warranted. A bit like the Clueless thing with Josh. You're like, oh, with that one, I'm like, is he gonna grow a spine? You're gonna marry a guy that's not gonna stand up to his mom and doesn't see what she's doing to you?
Pink flag. Let's see if it turns red. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, because that's the total opposite of with like Ryan Reynolds with the proposal of like, I'd like to marry you because I'd like to date you.
Oh yeah,
because she can't, because they have to get married for her to stay. It's just like, oh no, there's something about that ending. Okay, I'll be fanning myself. And the outtakes, it was hard. They had some good ending options for that one too. So we've established a character, a story you'd like to bring to life. And then what would your personal definition of a Hallmark prince be?
I think that would be sort of a tick list of what I think brings an all-around person, sense of humor, because I like giggling, kindness, generosity, maybe a bit of like chivalry. Like I'm a bit of a feminist. I'm like I can do anything that a man can do, but please hold the door. It makes me feel special.
Yes,
those moments when you're just sort of like, let me just
yes, nice. Appreciate it, gentlemen.
Yes, chivalry goes afar. And I think it's a confidence. Like, the men should have a confidence in themselves, and I don't think from what I see, I wouldn't want someone to feel intimidated or feel that they shouldn't be out or around my energy. Am I talking about myself or characters? Dashing.
Either way.
The quiet confidence men should have. I don't want arrogance by any means. Like, not not that much of Elizabeth Bennet that he's prideful men or anything like that. But just a quiet confidence that that they can hold their own, that they're respectful. I think those would be those.
Absolutely. Well, I really had never seen any work of Nathan's before. And I thought he was an excellent prince, both just story-wise And,
Yes.
you know, as a modern man, I thought, and Hallmark has done a lot of, you know, Prince movies. And I have to say, I think he's a favorite for that.
Yeah. Oh, he's lovely. He's done a few Hallmark mysteries.
Okay.
So they've been having him do some mystery ones since, which I don't think have aired yet. But when I spoke to him last, he had been doing some of those. And yeah, he's I mean, he's an incredible actor. He's such a generous soul as well. Fascinating to talk to. So yeah, we would chat. My mum loved him.
Aww.
So
I can see why.
I love Unwrapping Christmas. And so I see her watching it. I'm like, you're only watching this for Nathan. You don't even care about me. But I think it was like she has a lot of appreciation for gentlemen that look like such, because I think that's kind of what my dad looked like growing up. When I mean, my parents have been married nearly 50 years, 50 years. So it's our golden anniversary this year. And yeah, my dad is biracial, like Nathan. So he's half black, my dad. So I think she's so like Nathan.
That's
younger version of my dad. So yeah.
Right. That connection. Oh,
yeah, he's very charming. His mum visited set as well. So his mum came in the same day my parents had visited as well. So that was nice. And it's sort of very, I think, rounded moment, because his mum lives near Toronto and he's of course in Vancouver. So I think it was a rounded moment where it's like my parents are watching me work, his mum is watching him work, and it was sort of I don't know, maybe a surrealism that they're like, you know, they said they wanted to do this, they wanted to be actors, and we're actually seeing them work right now on a camera kind of thing. So I think that's kind of, a full rounded moment for parents to see.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So sweet.
Well, I feel like I'm hogging all the questions. So Brennan, do you have any other ones? I mean, I have a whole list. I mean,
you can keep going. Absolutely. Yes.
I'm loving this conversation. So
well, no, this is what I absolutely love. It's just fun girl chat. I mean, like, you know, so for me, another one that comes up is I'm curious for your voice acting. What was something that surprised you taking on that kind of genre for work? But anything?
Yeah, I kind of got into voiceover, sort of stumbled into it because I do a lot of motion capture for video games. So my first actual professional gig, I say professional because I got paid to do it, was on a video game that at the time was called a vertical slice. So it's almost like you get greenlit to do perhaps a few scenes from a video game, and it's an idea to give the producers, you know, what the characters will be like, what the setting will be like, the graphics, the production design. So it gives them, you know, they're large budgets, these things too. And so they will do, shoot these things for sort of 3-4 days, edit it all together with motion capture actors and stuff, and then present it forward to get greenlit into production fully. So it was called Project Albert, I think, at the time. So I was cast off of, not even a self-tape that I did. My agent submitted a short film I'd done at school of Sweeney Todd. So my brother and I doing the song A Little Priest from Sweeney Todd, and it caught the eye of one of the executive producers out of Quebec City, and he's like, I want this girl. So I got cast from that, and that was a few days of motion capture. And then I was working with some very, very experienced motion capture actors out of Montreal. And I remember, it seems so kind of crazy. One thing I learned from voiceover work is just get out of your own way and don't judge yourself, because you can't afford to. I remember we'd been shooting all the physical work for a few days. And then in the studio, they set up, just brought in these kind of screens, fabric screens, 3 of them. And then they had a music stand, and then Gent with a boom standing over. And I believe I was mic'd. I think I was wearing a microphone as well. And then you have this sound engineer that's just going through, and they were doing what's called, they call it ono in the video game world, but it's supposed to stand for onomatopoeia. So you're making the reaction sounds of punches, of stabbings, of losing your balance. It is the craziest stuff I'd ever done. And I watched some of the other actors go, and I'm like, this is nuts. I have to do that. And it'll be, the guy had a clipboard, and he goes, okay, so we need 3 punches to the stomach. Okay, go.
Oh my.
Like, what? So you just have to keep, you're doing oof, kind of thing. And you feel like an idiot, but it's literally just for the technicality of capturing a particular sound. And so I got out of my way quite quickly of being like, don't judge it. It's, by the end, I'm sort of half giggling, but that is the world. It's like, it's so technical when it comes down to it. And then I've done video games where that you just have to change your cadence. Perhaps you do variations on lines. So it's just showing up prepared to do those challenges. And then the last one I did was for a video game called X Defiant. And it was, thankfully they left it to the end of the session, which they have to by union rules, because I could not speak properly. And I was still doing ADR for the Unwrapping Christmas movies at the same time. And I had to do a few death sequences. One was like screaming, falling from a distance, and it was 3-4 versions of that. The other was this very non-romantic comedy. It was death by electrocution and death by flamethrower. I'm like, okay, the only thing I can rely on is my full-on imagination at this point. Yeah, flamethrower. So by the end of it, I'm like screaming. I've pretty much lost my voice. They're like, great, thank you so much. And then I had to go and do ADR for, I think it was Cindy's movie the day after. And my voice was several notes lower than it was when I'd filmed the movie, 4 months before. So I was like, sorry guys, like I ravaged my throat doing a voiceover yesterday. So like, when it rains, it pours. Sorry, so I've got ravaged vocal cords, and I have to go in and match my own audio.
Well, that's actually very interesting because they obviously play off of each other, because ADR is very, you are matching what you're trying to match what you just did, and so you're trying,
or
never thought of it that
lines, way. Or I love and I hate ADR. So my running joke on set is that I look for things tactically. So if I see that there's placement that we could put a locations mat down to muffle sound, because they always have you in heels. I'm like, can we get a locations mat here? And they're like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, it's just for sound. And the sound engineer is always like, appreciates it. I was like, trust me, I don't want to be doing ADR, because I have a love-hate relationship with it. Half the time I'm sort of like, why did I make that choice that I then have to match? Or we spent a lot of time trying to decipher what I was saying. Or lines get changed. There were some edits to the film Mia's Prince. There were a couple of subplots that actually ended up being reduced, which I was like, which I thought was a little bit of a shame. It was a subplot with the sister and my grandmother, and also this thing with my bracelet. So they didn't end up making the final cut. So sometimes you have to insert lines, and then one of the streets we were filming on with myself and the actress playing Penelope. My mind is blanking right now. She's lovely as well. Anyway, we were filming on a very, very busy street. So a lot of that had to be ADR, because you've got big trucks going across. It's literally right where the bridge leads over to cross into Quebec in Ottawa. And it's like, there was nothing we could do about that. We just had to, we knew we were going to have to replace some of it. And then they had to, because of the edits to that part of the storyline, they had to reconfigure the actual script. So ADR is, along those lines. You just have to figure out the tricks. So I usually do it 2 pictures, so I can listen to it, and I'll listen to it through, and I can get the rhythm, and then I just have to add intention onto that. So once I've got the rhythm down, I just have to bring that kind of those words to life a bit more, so it's not so flat sounding.
That's so interesting. That's so cool.
You learn as you go, and that's been one of the big things with my career in general. As I studied theater, so I'm classically trained. So TV film is very, very different from that, and the volume, how you your voice work is very different. So it's just been like learning over my career span and so forth, the tricks of the trade, and knowing that ADR is not fun. So I'm like, any moment that I can have to cheat something, I'll be like, oh, and I was filming just this week with Jonathan Stoddard. We were filming and there were big trucks and there were big, motorcycles going down the road with like music blaring. And so we would literally pause during the scene, wait for them to clear, and then go, I'm going to go back. And then carry on the scene because I'm like, I'm not doing ADR.
Yeah. And then here comes the next truck.
Right.
It was timed, I think one point someone went by blasting Bob Marley. And so he just sort of paused and I was like, love me some Bob Marley, but not right now. I'm trying to film a Christmas movie.
Can we just add this part in?
Yeah. Like I'm always down for some Bob Marley kind of thing. But I'm like, not right now.
Absolutely. Oh.
So those are definitely behind the scenes things that you don't know happen. People that decide to walk through your scene. I think we had a woman during Unwrapping Christmas. I do not recall the scene itself, but it's compliments to the production designer because they did such an incredible job with the unwrapping shop that a woman walked in off the street and was trying to buy something during a take. And the first AD was kind of like, please be quiet. And she's like, well, you could have put a sign in the window to say you were closed. And we were all like, oh,
we can't. You see the sign during the filming.
We got sassed by a local kind of thing.
That's a big deal. That's kind of an honor. Yeah.
I was like, kudos to you guys. Obviously, like you've done such a great job. The lady literally thought this was a real store and got mad. She got really mad at us. She could put a close sign in the window. Like, it's a set. It's that you don't see the camera equipment and the lights and
right.
Yeah, you guys got her all excited that she was going to be able to. She had something to get wrapped.
She did. She's like, this is where I'm bringing my presents. Yes,
because it was a phenomenal space. They created all of the boards showing the prices, all of the actual cards and the paper were Hallmark. They were actually like Hallmark paper and everything. Wow. So all the cards that you could pick up off of the shelves and stuff, you turn around and it's a Hallmark. Wow. So I was like, that is like such a beautiful, just such an excellent job they did of detail. Yes. But also it's always like a lovely full circle. I'm like, oh, I love that this card's so cute. Oh, it's a Hallmark.
So you guys, so you knew this one was going to Hallmark when you were filming it? Because I know a lot of times you don't know that. For the
no, this one we knew was headed for Hallmark Plus.
Okay.
Yeah, straight away. Yeah. Like there's a terminology when we say, oh, I make Hallmark movies, it's because it's a style of film.
Yeah.
So the one I just finished, I know is headed for Lifetime because it's already been like purchased and our casting was based off of that. Yeah. So and Hearts Around the Table, we knew it was Hallmark. I've done productions with Up TV. Generally, I would want to say like 10-20% of the time. No, that would be the opposite. 80-90% of the time it has already been sold. There's that 10-20% that they're like, okay, well, we'll see who will pick this one up. Yeah, kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah. I do have to share. First of all, Kathryn and I, we were in the Twin Cities, so we thought it was so cool that these
stories town.
We just thought it was so cool that these stories take place. Like for your character in St. Paul, we were like, oh, our hometown, and so cool that all of your characters met at the university. My boyfriend graduated from there. My grandpa did. So
amazing.
So neat.
I didn't know you guys were located in Minnesota. So that's even more special that it's literally like we focus on your state for that as well.
Absolutely. So special. And there's I forget the name of it now. I might have to go back and look it up. But a few years ago, there was a print shop for real in downtown St. Paul. I have a couple of prints myself, but they would make all their own cards and, just prints of art. Awesome. And the way that they designed Unwrapped really looks like this actual print shop. So that's what it reminded me of in these movies. Wow. I thought, this looks just like that print shop in St. Paul, if it's still there. This was a few years ago.
Cute.
But so kudos to the team because it looked like a real story.
They did a great job. They set it all up, and then Greg, who was the production designer for my film, I'm pretty sure across all of them, went to Ireland and got married. So we were like, we'll miss you, Greg. It's not the same without you. But he had such a good team underneath him that were able to kind of really bring the world to life. And kudos to him. Like, we got yelled at by a lady because she thought the story was real.
She thought it was real. Yeah.
She did. So we're like, pat on the back for that.
Yes.
Well, it's actually kind of funny when I was going to bring it up when we were going to do trivia. I did want to ask before we hop onto that one, specifically, what can you share about your next movie? But we'll come back to that. So with this, when we were talking, Alec, when he said, "Oh, you're from the Twin Cities," he goes, "St. Paul." He goes, "Did it look like St. Paul?" We were really hoping it really did, and it wasn't until there was something about it originally that I was like, is this Minnesota? And then when it finally really was talking about the University of Minnesota, then I was like, okay, obviously I knew where we were. But there was actually, I think it wasn't until I saw an aerial shot. I think I saw an aerial shot of the skyline of Minneapolis. So the store that Natalie and Alex's character meet at is Dayton's, and Dayton's was according to my aunt, there is one in St. Paul, but I guess I don't remember that myself. But the one in Minneapolis was where like the place to go for Christmas. And the 8th floor had this beautiful magical display that you went in, and every year it changed. It would be Santa Bears one year, Cinderella the next year, and they're animatronic window displays throughout the entire, and because of course Minnesota being freezing cold, everything was inside, but it was just so,
I'm from Toronto.
Yeah, you get it. So it was just so fun to see, like how even though he's like, did we hit it right? I said, you guys actually did in ways that you have no idea, which was pretty cool for us.
That's so sweet.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's lovely to hear that. As soon
so
as you
then
said
my trivia question one of my trivia questions would be, the store is located on a famous street in St. Paul. Do you happen to know what street the store was actually on?
Was it Main Street?
No, it wasn't Main Street.
Is it bad that I'm like totally going to cheat for a second? Because
no, it is not bad at all.
I'm going to show you why.
I'm asking you this because it actually swings back to what Brennan was talking about with the store.
Oh, it was on Grand Avenue. And the only reason I know is because my executive producer sent me a shirt.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's where I'm cheating, is I'm like, I literally have a shirt that
I love
she sent
that.
me Christmas time. Yeah, and a little ornament.
Cute.
So I put it on my tree and stuff. So there you go, St. Paul.
Beautiful. We love that all wrapped all wrapped up logo. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But Grand Avenue is the avenue to go shopping on, to eat on. And one of the, if I'm understanding the one where I think Brennan is talking about, that print shop is on Grand Avenue.
Oh,
at least the one that,
I wonder if it's number.
I forgot where it was.
It says 426, but I think that was supposed to be the sorority house.
Yeah. Oh no, that's so
cute. So cute.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love the play on words, because also the Alfred House that we were supposed to be doing the gala at is actually named after one of the executive producers who gave me the shirt. So Lisa Alfred. So they named the actual event space after her. So yeah, fun fact.
Neat.
Yeah, that was his question. And I will say, we've got a lot of like women's clubs and a lot of like luncheon places, and they look just like that building. So yes, everybody knocked it out of the park.
They really did. Yes.
Yeah. They did. Ottawa is a very special city. Like, I've worked there I think 5 or 6 times now, and that street in particular we were filming on is called Sussex Avenue. So that is like the heart of Parliament. So across the road is like the Canada Revenue Agency. So it's the scary tax people for Canadians. And then down the road is the American Embassy. So it's one of the big main streets. And then just behind the CRA, there's a park, and then it's the Parliament buildings across like this gorgeous like lock that runs from the Rideau Canal, which drops right the way down into the Ottawa River. So it's very pretty.
Oh,
It sounds
love
very
Canada. Canada's
similar
great,
to
but
St. Paul.
it does.
Because our capital is in St. Paul, and that is where our big we've got Minneapolis has beautiful churches and basilicas too, but there's just something about the river flows that you get in St. Paul and the bluffs and the valleys that it was perfect for that. So it was fun. So
lovely.
To hear
It's
the
even
Twin
made it,
Cities mentioned was a lot of fun.
it made it even more of a special watch, really.
Yeah,
We were like,
and I'm actually
yay.
I have not seen Cindy's yet.
Okay.
Because I decided I would watch the ones that were coming up, and then I would watch hers live when it came. And so I'm curious because for her, she goes off and gets lost in a city. So I'm curious how up north they go, if they really go up north,
Right.
Yeah.
or what town she ends up going to for the cabin for her.
They keep talking about skiing. So you would know if they're skiing actually around there.
Okay. All right.
I don't recall if it's ever said in her script.
Okay.
But they keep implying about skiing.
Okay. So that would actually be Duluth and Lutzen area, which is our favorite place to go around Lake Superior.
Oh, perfect. I'm on Lake Ontario. There's Great Lakes.
So we'll have to let you know. But I'm excited for that one just because it has the woodsy part of it.
Yes. Yeah, that'll be lots of fun.
Yeah. So could you share anything about your upcoming movie?
Oh, probably some snippets. It is aimed for Lifetime Channel, City TV in Canada, I believe. I'll have to double check on that. And it's directed by a lovely gentleman named Mike Donis, who has actually edited me in a lot of movies beforehand. So this is the second time I've worked with him as a director. He did Hearts Around the Table, Jake's Third Serving. He did the third film of that family kind of four-parter. And my lovely co-star is Jonathan Stoddard. So he's quite the popular gentleman. So he was lovely. Love him. I was texting him today. I'm like, I miss you, because he's back in LA now. He's just about prepped to go on to another project. So
Oh, that's so exciting. Do you have an idea of when this movie of yours will premiere? Okay,
no,
so
not yet. It's going to be part of their It's a Wonderful Lifetime Christmas rollout, but I might get a better idea in a few weeks. I know that they've just finished a rough assemble, is what I'm hearing of an edit, and they don't have to lock the story until sort of mid-September. So it's going to be a really, really fun one. It was lots of fun to shoot because it's sort of along the lines of I would say there's a pinch of adventure and so forth in there. So it was a lot of fun to shoot, have some really great supporting cast in it. And I think it's going to be really special. It's being edited by Mike Donis as well. So literally it was very good working with a director that knew exactly what he was going to do and how he was going to cut it live. Because he'd be like, don't worry, I'm not going to take that, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and I know, I keep keeping you, but the interesting part that I've learned so much is how, like for the directors, they give their cut, but then how much of that baby just goes off to somebody else to do the editing. So it's not common for the director really to have the final say in the editing. It kind of seems like, which is
not always. Yeah, and it's crazy because when you're filming, you'll have, maybe a producer will pop by the set and they'll be like, oh, the dailies are looking great. And so they're watching all of your feedback almost live. So the first few days you might have like producers. When I was working in the UK last year on a project, the producers were present on set the first few days. And it's just to make sure that they're hitting the aesthetic of like Christmas everywhere. Because, we're filming in April and May.
Right.
So it was just to make sure that aesthetic is being hit, and then they'll disappear for a while, but then they'll be seeing dailies. So they get to see the footage that you film that day. They're watching it the next day. Okay. So it's like, ooh, can't afford to make a mistake. Ooh. They'll learn very quickly whether or not to replace me.
And we'll end on this one then, unless Brennan has something really quick. How often do you get to see the movie yourself before it actually is airing for everybody else to see?
Maybe a few snippets in ADR, but aside from that, I'm
Oh,
seeing
so
it
you're seeing
live.
it when we see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I usually get a screener, but they won't give it to me until it's aired. So usually I'm trying to kind of catch it live.
Okay.
Well, that's interesting that they wouldn't give you a screener till it aired.
Right.
And sometimes I've had movies that have aired in the States and then I've not seen them up here. So I will see them before Canadians. Like I saw Unwrapping Christmas. I got the screener probably the day it came out.
Well, the reason that I think that is so interesting is, like you said, things get cut. And so when you're doing podcasting or doing interviews beforehand, you might be talking about something that you're not sure is still in there. That's so interesting.
Yeah. No, I don't generally see it until it's kind of airing. So I'm seeing it with everyone else.
Well, thanks for solving that. I mean, I know it's a different for everybody, but to even know that that's even a possibility that you're seeing it at the same time is mind-boggling to me.
It might be different for other actors. They might have like there's actors that produce along, or a producer on the film, so they are going to be seeing it before anyone else does, and they'll have a say over cuts and so forth. But I'm not at that level. I haven't been executive producing or anything yet, so it's a goal, but not yet. So yeah, I'm as out of the loop as everyone else until I see it live, and then sometimes it's a surprise along the way that I'm like, oh, they did that cut. Oh, I like that shot. Oh, okay. But then it makes sense because I had that with Mia's Prince is at the opening with Arthur in the bookshop. There was a whole other little scene to precede that, but that was also playing into a storyline about the bracelet, which then ended up getting cut. So then it picks up from another part of the scene. So, and you wouldn't know watching it. I just know because I filmed it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. Oh, that's so cool. Well, Kathryn, I have one last one off the cuff question. So we so enjoy hearing that you've gotten starstruck with certain actors, because we definitely would. So I love that. Is there a favorite actor you have, or an actor that like you'd love to work with someday?
Within like Hallmark world, or?
Yeah, Hallmark or just like dream, like, both.
I find that a lot of actors, some of the actors that I have met I have been surprised by in a positive way. And there's a side of me, because we have TIFF, we have the Toronto International Film Festival up here. When I was first at theatre school, they would be doing them at the university and stuff. So you would be like, there's John Hamm, there's like Megan Fox and stuff. Wow. And so there were actors that I've loved and admired. And I'm like, I don't want to meet them because I have a perception of what they're like. And I don't want to have that spoiled. But then there's been wonderful ones. Like I bumped into Keanu Reeves once, and he was the so down to earth. He just had a TIFF film show. He came out of a side door of the university where I was. My brother and I were walking along the road, and he just like hails a Beck taxi, which is a taxi brand in Toronto, and signs a bunch of autographs. So I was standing like 4 inches from him, like, oh my God, kind of thing. It's the guy from Speed. And he just gets in a car and he's like, bye, and leaves. And he's really well known for being incredibly down to earth. He gives a lot of money to charity, very philanthropic. And so that was a lovely one. So, maybe I'd work with Keanu Reeves.
Oh, that would be amazing. Oh, he's fantastic.
Yeah,
excellent choice.
Yes.
Yeah, there's actors I certainly peg from performance that I've seen, that if I were to ever produce something and I had the budget to be able to get them, they would be someone that I would want to have, or people that I've worked with and I'm like, oh, and I keep them in mind for ideas that I have, but I haven't put them to paper yet. But certainly I'd like to have them appear in a role in a film. So yeah.
Aww. So fun.
I don't know if that answered it at all, but
no, that was great. Great answer.
And Hallmark names and stuff. I'd love to do another of the 4, just to get to know the women as well, because that was one thing that was so special, is watching these women like Natalie Hall working and the nuance she brings to the work. And she's very like physical comedy style and emotive with her face. And then seeing Cindy, who's just a consummate professional, and she hits her marks, and like, she's on it. She's present at all times. And then you've got Ashley, who's just stunning to look at. I mean, all the women are so beautiful. And she was the one I knew the least about headed into production. But as soon as I met her, I was just like, she has a magnetism to her. Everyone is drawn to Ashley when she's on set. She's funny, so funny, such a funny person. And, yet she plays very, very like put together, but she has got a really, really stellar sense of humor. Lots of naughty giggling happening. Like, we
appreciate that. Yes.
Yeah. So I'd love to do some work with other women because it's amazing to see that no one told me how to do the job itself. Like I have just followed my instincts, and I suppose paid off because I've ended up falling into this world of romance films, and watching them all work, I was like, oh, it clarifies as to why we work, because we work in a similar manner. And so there's that same kind of focus and we hope professionalism that I was seeing them do. And I was like, oh, I get it. That's why we are working in this world, is because we all approach the work in a very, very similar manner. And then we recycle the men. We recycle them.
I'm all about recycling. So is Kathryn. Yes.
I am going to I think we're going to have to clip that over and over again, because I think that's hysterical.
Yeah. I'm telling you, like, Torrance Coombs has got sugar lips because I've kissed him, Ashley's kissed him, Cindy's kissed him. The other one, Franco Lopresti, like Franco's been my co-star. Ashley's just worked with him again, and plus Unwrapping, and then who else? Steve Lund. Olivier Renault. Yeah. We're all sugar lips. We're all like sharing our what would you like to kiss?
Okay.
Torrance likes to say it's getting the band back together, and that was a clip that I just posted today because in honor of the band getting back together for the last one of Unwrapping Christmas. But yeah, I just think that's pretty funny. That'd be like, okay, so the band's back together, so I know who I'm kissing.
Yeah, you can say.
At least I know
Torrance.
you.
Yeah, Torrance with sugar lips. Like, we know how to taste.
We all know each other. It's fine.
Yeah. Because it is the kissing is always it's more awkward leading up to it because they're very technical. And so I was literally just kissing Jonathan on Tuesday. But it's very technical, and it's always awkward broaching that conversation because you're like, the director, I'm like, what are you thinking? Like, is it like a hold and then a side and then another hold kind of thing? Amy Force, like Nathan and I were being very conservative because we're like, there's no tongues in Hallmark. And she actually wanted it. She wanted that. And so we were doing like a, press the lips and then pull back and smile. And then we're like, do you want another? And she's like, no, I want like, mwah, mwah. I don't remember how she described it, but it ended up working. And of course, we're sort of like, okay, sure. Boundaries are out of the way. We're like,
we are a huge component for Hallmark After Dark, and we're appreciating the little stretches that we're getting. And I mean, we still know we know we're not watching Bridgerton. We know that.
Yes.
But at the same time, when you just you're like, oh, they pushed the envelope that much today. Yay!
Yeah. We want more than pecs.
No, Amy was down for it. And so Nathan and I had already been working together for 3 weeks. We did our kiss was in the crossover.
Okay.
And so it was one of the first scenes that we filmed of all of us being together. So she lined up, I've got Cindy, Jake, Ashley, Torrance, Natalie, Alec, all over at the side here. Plus Tara's playing my sister. And so we're doing our kiss. And then she's like, okay, and then I want you to look over to the girls. But my actual laugh is genuine because we look over and they're all literally like, oh!
Yeah, good job!
We give you thumbs up.
Yeah, like breaking the ice. It's like, well, let's just watch one another make out on day one. It's like, fine. Nathan and I are fine at this point. We've worked together so closely.
Kat, this is why This is why we had to talk with you now, because we wouldn't have gotten that information 3 weeks ago.
Thank you, girl. Yes. This is what we really want to know, honestly.
Yeah. It was literally like, oh, they're gonna watch me make out. And then it was Amy being like, no, like more kind of thing. We're like, oh, we're being all conservative of like, oh, and yeah, she wanted more. And I was
insist.
Like, yeah,
this is called bonding.
Yes. We're gonna go out
and then I was just like, okay,
all right, twist our arm.
Oh my gosh, this is the perfect way to end. And we will definitely invite you back. We hope you will come back and chat the next movie.
Yeah,
and we've got a lot more rom-com questions to chat about.
Absolutely.
No, it's been so fun. Thank you for having me on board, and I hope I haven't given you too much of a look behind the curtain that you're like, oh, like the romance.
Oh, it's never too much.
Comedy.
The more the better.
Yeah, it's like Sylvester Stallone snogging is what we say in the UK. What else was there? Camera smushed up to my face kind of thing. You're getting the full experience.
We love it.
I often said I would have, if I would have known all the different opportunities. I figured back in the day, if you didn't act or sing, then there really wasn't a career for you in this. And this is, I love behind the scenes stuff. And so I'm like, is it too late to go back and learn how to do all the technical stuff? Because that's what I think is so interesting. And then how it just becomes camera. Like, we'll end on the kiss, but I can't believe how many people end up kissing their co-star like on day one. And you're like, hey, nice to meet you. Right?
I think
how much chemistry did we have a chance to build up here?
Right? Mine was baking. Like I was doing the quintessential baking scene with Nathan. That was day 3 for me, day 1 for him. So yeah, we finished our film before we actually even smooched. We were close a few times, and then this last one, Jonathan and I, was second last day.
Okay.
Closest I think I've been is day 3.
Okay. But you're still, like you said.
But I'm not necessarily working with the co-star. Like it might be my day 3, but it might be their day 1 or 2. So it's like,
exactly. Okay, and you might have just found out who it was as they walked on set.
Yeah. But they actually, it was Jonathan that gave me the insight. He's like, well, sometimes they like to schedule those early because there's a sense of like nervousness that comes with it that feeds through the camera. And I was like, God, you're smart. So yeah, that was something I hadn't clue.
I think I have heard that, but like you said, as the more comfortable you get, it's not like you get to go back and be like, can we redo that? Because now it's been week 3 and we know each other. So
no, it's in the camera, it's in the can. Too bad. You have to like it.
We are here for all the behind the scenes, and thank you so much for spending this time with us, Kat. This has been a blast.
Kathryn. This was
Thanks for having me.
Lovely. Thank you so much.